Welcome, everybody. Today is the coffee break show, but today's a very special show, and I have a very special guest on with us. We have Natalie with us. And before we decide to change the world and have some fun together, we always have to hear that music. See you in a minute. You're on the Success Secrets for Business, Family, and Life channel. I'm Vickie Helm. This is the Coffee Break Show. Today, we are going to be talking about, hey, first off, just taking your power back, but not just taking your power back in a way that, you feel good, but gives you more success, gives you ample power and creativity, and unleashes your inner genius. And today, we have Natalie, and I'm going to say it, is it Viglione?
You got it.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Natalie Viglione, who is a specialist and in kind of the consciousness and awakening area, but she deals specifically with entrepreneurs and business people. And I know, Natalie, that one of the biggest, most important things you can have as an entrepreneur is the ability to see opportunity, the ability to have awareness, and the ability to have a sense of yourself and take your power back in such a way that you can protect what you've created, grown what you've created, or act on your behalf. How did you even get into this space? How did you start out? And why did you choose entrepreneurs? Answer all three questions at once.
Okay, got it. And go.
And go.
Yeah, so this was an interesting journey, but the real crux of it all was being a very spiritual person, and realizing that as I rose in corporate, what was happening, and this doesn't happen when I say corporate, I mean the corporate that I chose, the lane
Yeah.
that I chose, which was what I thought was going to be a very creative, high uh energy, like, yeah, let's go do great creative things. And it was actually a little bit of that, but a lot more toxic than I
Mhm.
had ever anticipated. So what happened is my spirituality started to go to the backside, and
Yeah.
therefore it became a superpower that was secret. So it's like, I
Mhm.
used my intuition, I used my abilities to really, and it felt kind of manipulative on my part because I wasn't speaking my truth nor being
Yeah.
authentic. So, in all of that, what I really learned, and when I stepped out and started my own business, this is going on almost 7 years ago now, I realized that, I'm not the only one that's like this. I'm not the only one that needs to create something and be something and do something without someone's thumb on my head the
Yeah.
whole freaking time.
Yeah.
I want to unleash the power within me, not sit there and keep quiet in the boardroom because it's all men.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're done with this game. And so that's why I really chose to really focus in on entrepreneurs that want to unleash that power, that people in general that want to unleash their power. That's also very true, because what I find is many people that have experiences akin to mine, there's something more that is being asked from them to create in the world.
This is so interesting because one of the things that I want to talk about, because I hear it all the time, we unleash the power within. What is the power that is being unleashed? When we say how to take your power back, when we say, this power, what is the power that we're even taking back?
It's a great question. So, from my lens, from my journey, and from my perspective, the way that I really look at this, taking the power back, is, I mean, it's in every facet of our life. Let's just talk about our health for 2 seconds. Instead of going to somebody and saying, "Dear human that knows all, please tell me what my health should be," and then take control of it. No, instead we say, "I'm sorry, I will use you when I need you, but I'm going to heal myself and I'm going to figure it out with my intuition and my discernment of what's right for my body." That's one thing.
So part of the power is listening to yourself, not giving your authority away. Okay,
Correct.
continue. I love this. Keep
Yes,
going.
yes, correct. So, another aspect of this is, see, too often we think, oh, well, I can't paint, so I'm not creative. Or,
Mm.
we always go into this, I'm not some, trust fund baby with a huge Manhattan apartment. So obviously I can't paint because I don't have the studio, whatever.
Yeah.
We forget that creativity is seriously a power that lies within all humanity, every human on this planet. Now, how that comes into the world is going to be unique. The expression is going to be different, but the power is there. And so tapping into the creativity that sits within, and I think this sits really within this power of this cosmic gateway of our womb space, men, women, all, and we can tap into that, this creativity to bring into the world, and that can be so many things. So it's also that remembering that we are creative beings.
Or remembering that you are particularly a creative being as well, because I think sometimes when people are like, okay, let's take the power back, what exactly does that mean? Well, for me, I really align with what you just said, which I think is really important. One is, it's to me the first power that is surrendered by everyone is belief in themselves. We are taught to believe the authority figure. We're taught to believe everything outside of ourselves. And the journey to taking your power back, everybody thinks it's going to be a hop, skip, and a jump. But the first thing you have to realize is, why don't you believe in you? Why don't you think you have something in you that is purposeful or meaningful? And I love that you just identified that in its way. It's like, taking your power back means meeting the self as well. It's not just, you can't make me do that, or some sort of
Yeah.
rebellious act. It's
Yeah.
a very empowering act, but it's a
Yes.
very, I love this word. I use it. It's from Lisa Nichols. She says, carefrontationally.
Yeah.
Carefrontationally, look at you, look at yourself. And I think the biggest question is, why? And because I think more people are brainwashed into giving their power away, and they don't even know it's theirs to have or take back. So let's just say I'm listening right now and I'm thinking, okay, this is the first time I've even thought about taking my power back, or that I even have personal power. Even if I read Tony Robbins' books, I still don't feel very powerful. I feel like everything in my life has control of me, not me having control of everything in my life. So, what would you say? Where do you start? What's the beginning? Like the first 3 tips or something that we could give somebody who's looking and saying, I'm tired of this, but I don't know what to do.
Yes. Yes. I think from my personal journey and process, what I've seen can work wonders is, first, take inventory, take stock, start really looking into every facet of your life. I mean spiritually. I mean, again, the health situation, the business
Yeah.
or the career situation, your relationships,
Yeah.
especially. Where do you see this in shamanistic healing processes? This is called reclaiming your soul
Mhm.
pieces.
Mhm.
Start looking at, where did you drop your soul? Where did you give away your power to other people? Where did you start losing the sense of who you are? And how did
Yeah.
that all, what was that process like? When did it happen? I mean, this takes a lot of time, or not. I mean, it really depends on how fast people like, oh yeah, that got it. Okay, but it's writing, write it out, speak it
Yeah.
out, start really recognizing it, seeing it for what it is. And by the way, don't slam yourself for doing this, because this happens from birth. This
Yes,
is
it
in the
does.
world. So it's inverted. It's not the way, it's not right side up. So we got to just know this isn't our fault. We can we our power was taken away, and now it's time to reclaim that. So that's step 1, I would say. Step 2 is, once you've really started to realize, all right, I see clearly. Okay, well, now what? Okay, well, now you can start the process of saying, okay, what are the top priorities? Where do I really need to, where do I need to hit first? If you're in a toxic relationship and you're in that every day, man, I would say start where it's closest to you, because that's going to be the hardest. That's going to take the most energy. That's going to take the most work through moving through the denial, moving through grief. It's like you have to let that all go before you actually physically let it go. So that is going to take as much time as it needs.
Yeah.
I don't think there is no, oh, you can do this in 3 months. No, that's not how this works. And everybody is going to be so incredibly unique in the process. And then once you move through this, my final, like if I was going to do three, here's three tips. The third one would really be tap into your magic. I mean, that's the program that I'm creating because, again, like you just mentioned, we forget. Do you realize how we are? Do we realize how powerful we are? Oh, no, we do not. And so, therefore, if we can start tapping into what that magic means, meaning I am here for a very unique purpose. And purpose is this word that everybody uses, but I'm just going to say it's unique in the sense of what I am supposed to bring into the world. Whatever that needs to be. It could be as simple as I have a child that I need to support, and I am here for this. Or it could be you are changing the world. I don't know. Like, it doesn't matter, but it doesn't have to be earth shattering huge to be a gift that you need to bring into the world.
This is so empowering to listen to this conversation right now because everybody wants to talk about taking their power back. And we make it sound like it's some get rich quick scheme, like, take your power back now and tomorrow will be different. But to me, and I'm going to just go deep here, we're going out into the woo woo, everybody. So we're going to be talking about this right now. To me, you don't know how many lifetimes you've given your power away. You don't know how many it could be 1,000 lifetimes back, and you've been repeating this pattern over and over and over and over and over again. So the first time that you decide to take your power back, to me, when I was on my journey of this, the first thing I had to look at, and I still look at that, this is a daily practice for me. It is, what am I telling myself? Now, I can find my shadow judging, whether it's judging me or judging another. I can find my shadow wanting to belittle, wanting to mask. You can find all of that. But you can also find this inner voice, and this inner voice that is part of you has its gifts, has its inner genius, has its ability to achieve and succeed, but it also has its own unique expression. And I think that's what Natalie brought up is, don't you want to know who you are before you die? Not what everybody else wants you to be, but don't you want to know who you are before you die? What's the unique, empowering expression of you that, when given out to the world, lights the world up, makes somebody feel better, has a smile on their face, changes or transforms someone? This is what Natalie is talking about tapping into right now. And don't you want to know what that is? Wouldn't you like to find out what kind of thing that is? Let's talk about your program a little bit, Natalie. I want to talk about how and why and when you thought of this program, and what is it about your program that helps people unleash that inner genius, that unique expression, that unique divine expression that they were born to emanate in the world?
Yes, great question. So, okay, let me first start by saying that the business side of what I do, which is a creative collective, is what I call it. It helps people really get their magic into the world. So you run a business and you're like, man, how do I copyright my way through what I do? Right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a difficult process. So that's just like the thing I've always done. That's it, And my husband runs the company with me, but Disrupt Now program and podcast, that came to me in a dream. That sucker was real, that
Yes.
everything, the
I get
logo,
that
all the
all the
things,
time. I'm so glad you said that. Answers come in dreams. Thank
all,
you.
yes. I mean, talk about power, right?
Yeah.
Now, the choice is you wake up and you take action. You
Yeah,
either use it or lose it. So
that's right.
I did, and I was like, don't know where this is going, but it went somewhere. And over the last 2 years, what has happened is I had a program, and it was running. It was about consciously co-creating. which is kind of a similar construct. But when I started receiving what I call more downloads, I mean, I can't even express the power in which the information that I received. I'm on a massive healing journey, and it was through my healing that a lot of this stuff started to come through. So it's like as I'm healing myself, I'm writing and I'm building and I'm creating. And this
Yeah.
isn't all pretty, by the way. You know,
Mhm.
there are some ugly,
It's
ugly
true.
days, my friends. Like, whew, not pretty. So, what this program, what the tap into is really the core essence, like we've been talking about, is seriously taking stock of your life, seriously seeing yourself in a new light. I can sit here and look at people and say, "Oh, I know what that gift. Oh, I know what they're supposed to do." But I can't tell people that. That's just something that comes through me. It's just a thing. But the process of other people realizing that, getting clear, it's the clarity
Yeah.
point of all this that's so imperative. And the way that I've really matched this is through a lot of energy work. So this is the bridging of the spirituality, and it's the bridging of the process of empowerment. So it's science and it's spirituality and it's creativity, and it's blending all these things, because a lot of the work that is also a part of the program is visualizations, meditations. So really bringing that through, because what we have to do as we are really getting clear in, okay, this is these are the pieces that are my magic. I am starting to see a thread here. I
Yes.
see very clearly. What did I tell? I mean, I
Yes.
take people through what happened in your first 7 years of life. Literally, let's go back. Like, let's really think. Then you
Yeah.
go into teens. Then you go into, you just start looking through your life, and it's amazing what you can see. You can see threads of like, oh my god, I am that strategist. I am a visionary. People
That's
are
right.
always, you
That's
start to
right.
really see,
You know, it's
see.
so interesting because when you go back through your life in this fashion, and Natalie, I think this is so empowering, but when you go back in this fashion into your life, you'll find that the superpower you are has a lot to do with the coping skills you needed to get through those traumas in your life. Though you remove the trauma in your life and the need to the coping skill, then you just have the skill, not the coping skill, but the skill. And when you find that skill, that is so empowering what you said, because it's an uncovering of your inner genius. You see, what Natalie's pointing out is that when you are working in your life and you're doing anything else, you use your inner genius, your tools of purpose, to protect yourself from the universe and the people in it and the world around you. You're constantly using that singular gift without a sense of awareness or a sense of purpose. But if you go back and you can unhook the trauma, if you can and maybe unhook doesn't mean forget the trauma, it just means it doesn't have the power it used to have to control you. Instead, you control it. You get to point and direct it. And the second that you can maneuver your attention and point of view away from the trauma and onto the skill set, you have made a quantum leap. And I mean a quantum leap in your success factor. And a lot of people think that it's always just, well, I'm going to go start the business, I'm going to do this. When you start a business or any project and you haven't done this work, I will tell you what happens. You will run into the thing that has been blocking you your whole life. And if you don't get through it, it will turn your project belly up. It's there to be transformed. It's there to be let go of. It's there to teach you a lesson. And what happens is when you get stuck in business, no matter where you are, because I personally know you go to one level and you're like, okay, here's $100,000. If you want to get to $500,000, the thing that has been blocking you your whole life from that $500,000 shows up. You want that seven figure business, that thing, that seven figure, it's going to be here. It is. You have to tackle each one of those things. And no matter what, that level of precision with yourself is taking your power back. And
Yes.
so what I want to say is everybody wants to take a class online where there's like they pay 1997. They're going to learn this one skill set that is going to make them $1 million, which never happens, by the way,
No,
because they've never actually dealt with the thing that is stopping them from not having it in the first place. Natalie, this is so interesting. I'm going to go a little left turn here
sure.
because I want to know your story of how you got here and how you knew. How did you know that this was the path for you to help people make that quantum leap? Because it is a huge quantum leap. And trust me, when you quantum leap, so do your money. It
Yeah.
just, everything quantum leaps with you. Just keep going.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, and people that you're kind of right here will go with you too. That's the other part of
Mm-hmm.
it. So it's kind of the tribe around you goes. But
Yeah.
okay, so this when again this is I did the processes that I'm guiding and teaching because clearly we have to drink our own Kool-Aid, right? So but if I go back in my life and I look at it, I was the kid that wouldn't believe in Santa Claus and I knew my parents were lying, which was probably really, horrific for them. Like, what is wrong with our child? Okay, your child, she's destined for something a little crazy, okay? There's something different about her. I was the one that got in fight with the Sunday school teachers because I'm like, oh, no, I'm sorry, this isn't going to work for me. So religious, that couldn't work. So I was on my own path, and at like around 17, I said I gotta go. Like this isn't working. It was like a whole thing, and they disowned me. And I was like, you didn't own me in the first place. It was just a lot of these instances that I was like, clearly, I'm not on this. I don't know. There's clearly something very different. So it was a huge journey to see what
Yeah.
is an outlier. What is this?
Interesting.
What is this thing? So I've done a lot of work around what that means because I'm not the only one. This is not like some anomaly. There are
Yeah.
others like me, and to find them is quite the journey too. But what I realized is that it's the ability to realize we are alchemists, that we transmute, that we take
Yes.
these toxic things that happen in our life and we go through a journey to transmute those things into something else. So that is really what alchemy is at the core of it
Yes.
all. And realize, okay, well, this is stuff that anyone can use and anyone can do. It's, again, I'm not saying I have some special, like, no one can do this. It was just I was so clear from the beginning, and I was able to utilize that to put that into my pathway, to make it my pathway as part of my trajectory, and to bring this. This is part of the magic that I'm supposed to bring through because it's my perspective, it's my journey and my lens, and it will resonate with whoever it resonates with. So
Yes. Yes.
so I was really on that pathway, and then when it took another deeper level, which is I got hit with a massive healing, needing to heal journey, and that's like a whole other podcast. But this was roughly 5 years ago when it all really came to a head. And so what I've learned even through this deeper process of healing is that the very thing in which we're here to heal in ourselves is the very gift that we can bring to other people.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to
Mm-hmm.
tell everyone that's having a massive healing journey, pay attention.
Yes.
Why? What is it? And what can you utilize? How is this going to be a catalyst for you? Because it is.
Yes. And I want to unpack this right here. MJ, thank you for this. It's so important to understand your why. Now,
Yeah.
when we started this is the unpacking of what she just said right here. Most everyone um, says they get a superficial why. They're like, and excuse me when I say this, it could be your kids, your family, your whatever, your why. This is your deep why. But if we take a look and we go a deeper level of why underneath that why, we'll find the resistance to wanting to be in the same struggle over and over and over again, to spin on that same wheel. There is a quote that that Jay-Z said once, and I thought it was so bold, and I'm probably not going to get the quote right. I'm going to paraphrase it. But he said, "You're willing to transform or change when you're so embarrassed about who you are and how you're living right now." And I at first I thought about that. Now, is that true? So there's some catalysts that people have as they start their healing journey. The first one is usually, I care about what other people think of me so bad, I'm willing to change. Then the second one is, I'm really sick and tired of what people have to say about how I should be, and I'm willing to change. Then the third level, you start going deeper. I want to know exactly what the purpose of me is, and now I'm willing to change. All those are whys. Here's your first why, your second why, your third why. We're going deeper and deeper into that why. Then the fourth thing that happens to you, and this to me is where the most abundance, this is the first level of where abundance starts hitting, and it is, I am now willing to serve humanity as a thought leader or whatever leader. When you're willing to serve in your purpose, you have opened the door to abundance. But usually you have to get through these whys, and you think these whys are real and they're strong and perfect there and everything else. But what we're talking about is the gateway here. And what we're talking about, that quantum leap from, oh, I think I want this to getting to here, which is the beginning of the journey of the path. It's the hero's journey, the healer's journey. This is the beginning path of that. And this is what Natalie's talking about. And everybody gets they get tripped up here. They get so tripped up. And the thing is, and I'm going deep here, you can spend lifetimes tripped up in this, lifetimes, hundreds, thousands. So the thing about, what Jay-Z said is that leap, when you get tired of doing this and being this for other and actually want to meet who you are, what your purpose is, what your gift is, what your core essence is, what you're all about. That's one thing. Then it goes deeper. Once you learn about that, something happens and you begin to find and feel your first love, not your secondary love, your first love, which is for who you are and what your soul is about. This is the depth of the journey that everyone who wants success, that is a healthy success, happens. Like I'm telling you, what Natalie does for people is the journey that you have to take if you want healthy money. If you don't, what's going to happen is you can let money and all of this become super destructive for you because
Yes.
you're stuck in these first three whys. So when we're on the journey, Natalie, when we're digging into this type of work, I know for myself that my journey is still continuing. You never arrive, you just continue, right? So
Yes.
my journey, I hit areas of resistance. And resistance sometimes is a good thing, and resistance sometimes ain't such a good thing. And I want to know, when you hit these patterns of resistance,
Mhm.
what could you tell us to help us move past them or to identify them in the first place? Because sometimes you believe your resistance and then you're blind for another few lifetimes or something. But what do we
Yes.
do with resistance? How's that question? I'm trying to form the question in a way that's answerable so people know, oh my gosh, I've hit resistance and I need help. So I should call Natalie. Just saying. But when we hit these resistance pieces, how can we identify them?
Yes. All right. This is a powerful question, and it's a question. It is okay. So what's very interesting is these three whys that you mentioned, and that people can get stuck in those. All right. So what I have equated those to is our first three chakras in our body. Now there are
Absolutely.
more than seven. I would like to tell everybody, which is just an
Agreed.
energy wheel in your body: the root,
Mhm,
the sacral, and the solar plexus. This is
mhm,
the relationship to fear, and this is the relationship to yourself and the relationship to others. So really is what this, and what happens is we get blocked in these centers. This is where we will meet massive resistance. And by the way, this is something that happens time and time again. And I'm talking daily. I mean, we can get tripped up in this stuff daily. So this is why having
Yeah.
some kind of daily practice around, really rooting into the root, into what am I fearing? What is blocking me? What it from the sacral, what is the relationship to myself? Where am I finding resistance? Let me tell you where mine is so that you can see an example, because this is a powerful one and this hits me hard. Okay, so I'm on a healing journey. Right now, I'm about 50 to 70 pounds over my normal weight because of what's happening in my body, which is toxins. By the way, this is very real and this is very powerful. And I think there's a lot of me out there suffering in the same way.
Yep.
What I cannot do very well is love myself. Meaning, I look in the mirror and I'm like, what the hell is whose body is this, by the way? Because it's not
Yes.
mine. So I literally am looking at myself, not accepting myself. Whoa. Okay, we're back in the sacral. We're back in the. I got to do
Yeah.
the work. I got to go deeper. I got more to clear here. I got to work, and then I got to tune that center up. So it takes really seeing it and being vulnerable in it. Talk about it. Who cares? I don't care that everybody knows that I am having massive body issues right now. Don't care. We can't care what people think about what our truth is.
Yes.
So that is how we can really, when we meet resistance, meet it, see it. We cannot heal what we don't talk about. Period.
Thank you for that. I think so many women, I think this is almost a plague in for women, is how perceived beauty is completely outside of ourselves and what people think is beautiful. And for some reason, I think we get stuck in the, if I'm not always beautiful to absolutely everyone, then I'm not beautiful. You're
Yes.
not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but somebody's going to notice you, and the first person who has to notice you is you. And
Yes.
that's the thing. It's like finding that core essence. And I know what it's like to be massively overweight and it be from toxicity. I'm not kidding. This is absolutely, I have, I'm a little older, so I have an extended career. And I spent a little time in London, and I was living in Denver in Boulder actually at that time. And then I was
Mm,
in London. And I was, when I went to London, I was very, very thin. And well, I wasn't very, very thin. I was medium build, I was average weight. But every night I would blow my nose and um, I would clean this, like I was in diesel fuel, or there
mm,
was black soot in my nose every single night, every night. And for 2.5 years, I saw my body just go doop, 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 because what was happening was it didn't know how to expel the toxins. I didn't. And so I could also notice my focus was kind of fuzzy and I didn't have as much energy, et cetera, et cetera. And
yep.
so what happens though is instead of noticing the toxicity, all I noticed was that my body didn't look like the typical body it was supposed to look like outside in the societal norm. Thank you, MJ. Yes, and this is it right here, MJ. Societal norms can wreak havoc in women's lives and in men's. And what happened was instead of noticing the physicality, going, I wonder what's going on here with this toxicity, then what ended up happening for me is I just lived a decade of such an ugly self hate, and finally thought maybe you should fast a little bit and get the water toxins out of you and start to feel better, etc. And that was there's part of that. I think that the point I'm trying to make, Natalie, is that you can get lost in the confusion
Yeah.
and you can believe the confusion and be so in the confusion you can't find the truth. You need someone to help you through that, because that's where you get blind and you can't see the forest from the trees.
Yes.
Although you're thinking, oh, forest from the trees, I've got a grip on me and my success. I go to the gym every day. Well, if you're not looking at how your life is affected by what other people think, it doesn't matter if you have the perfect body or a body that doesn't seem as perfect or as beautiful as like Lizzo and all the other people that say, round is beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking at that right now in such a heavy thing because I could see myself being lost in that for years. And you lose the value of the power of you
Yes.
when you move that out there. And it doesn't, we're using this as an example, but I can go in over other examples over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Yes.
And this is just one of many. The thing is, we think that we have to get over it ourselves. And that's the lie. There's a
Yep.
point where nobody achieves big success without having, and I cannot tell you, I'm so thankful for mine, all the coaches, all the mentors, all the therapists, all
Yes.
the healers. I know for me to achieve what I've achieved, I spent 4 years at the Barbara Brennan School of Healing doing all the daily work on me over and over and over and over and over again. Because when I die, I can't take the money with me, but what I can take with me is me. And
Yes.
if I don't know who I am, where I'm just going to repeat again.
Yes.
And so what would you say to, I want to even go a little deeper, Natalie, because I think we have an opportunity here between you and me. I want to talk to the person who's feeling suicidal,
Yeah.
who is feeling, or maybe who is in a really rough situation right now,
Yeah.
who can't see any light in themselves or light at the end of the tunnel,
Hmm.
and maybe has an addiction of some sort. Let's talk to them for a minute, because I think there's an opportunity to have a bit of a transformation and make it okay to ask for help and receive it, not because you're a loser, but because you're a soul. And what would you say to the person who just has feelings of, I'm a loser? What would you say to that person who doesn't even think they're worthy of help?
First of all, you're not alone in
Yes.
this why I think that it's we have to speak up to be able to get the help that we really need, because we're never alone. We're never alone in anything that we're doing, and we're never ever supposed to be in it alone. And so the most powerful thing that we can do is to go to someone and say, I hit my wall. I cannot do this anymore by myself. Will you help me? And what that help is going to look like is what I see healers as true, real healers. They are people who do not heal you, they
Yeah.
actually remind you that you are the most powerful healer
Whew.
ever. So we as healers don't heal. We lead by example and say, here's what is possible.
Mm.
Because you can heal yourself. We can heal ourselves from anything. That means what? Oh, that we're powerful, that none of us are losers. I don't care what your surroundings tell you, they are incorrect. It is wrong. It is your time to say, all right, I'm ready to step out of this because this ain't working for me no more. And it is your right, and you deserve to get out of whatever is keeping you anchored down in misery and suffering, because it is not real. It is not truth. We deserve better than that. And by the way, this is taking our power back by saying, I'm sorry, don't deserve this anymore. I gotta go.
I love this conversation because it's like sometimes you're so busy beating yourself up that you don't realize you're beating yourself up.
Yes.
Sometimes you're so busy belittling you that you don't realize the beauty of you. You just realize the belittling of you.
Yeah.
So to me, sometimes your mind can be a torturer of you,
Yes.
and you are your own worst enemy.
Yes.
And to me, the uncovering of who you truly are, is the only path to peace. So it doesn't matter how long it takes on your journey to your path to peace. The sooner you're on that journey, the better. Now, I want to talk to the entrepreneur who is looking at wanting to go to the next level or has a vision in their mind of who they want to become. The person who wants to become, uh, I love this. I got to put this up here. Oh my gosh, MJ, thank you for this. Not everyone realizes that they are in charge of their destiny.
Totally.
I love this. I love
Yeah.
this. And I actually believe this because I remember going through this. I remember thinking that everyone else was in charge of my destiny but me. Oh, MJ, thank you for the
Yeah.
reminder.
Yep.
So when when we are when we are in the moment of a painful situation or a good situation or a vision we hold of ourselves, that vision that we're holding in our mind, that's what I want to talk about, because it's said that what we focus on, that's what grows, that's what we turn into, that's what we develop into. But I know for myself, Natalie, that on the way to becoming that and still becoming, because once I arrived at this becoming, I was like, ooh, I could be this and this and this, and I want that too. And then
Yep.
you're on your way to becoming again.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that I want to talk about to that person who holds that vision is um, because I know for me, I've met resistance along the way. The second the vision happens, to me, that's an invitation from the universe. Like Vickie, you could, now that you're here, you have this, you could have this and more awakening, more enlightening, more connection. Would you like that? And there's all of me, yay, yes, I want that. So I start taking that journey, and no matter what, you know how you reach beyond your comfort zone, and suddenly you have to make that choice of pushing past or going back to your comfort zone. Most people go back to their comfort zone. And I'm like, what are the secrets when you're taking your power back to get you to move beyond just a hair, just a little bit, so that you can meet the vision that you're holding for yourself?
This really goes into this choice conversation, because every second of every day, we have the ability to choose, keep choosing.
Yeah.
And we need to have, this is where the clarity comes in too, because the intention of this vision that you hold within here, to keep choosing the positive path of moving forward with that vision, you have to keep choosing yes, yes, yes. So starting to
Mm.
open yourself to the opportunities that are dropping in. When you start to be aware of, ooh, there's that door just opened. This one closed, but this door opened. And that keeps happening as you keep taking your steps forward. And by the way, I would like to say, this is like a crazy straw of like, you know, we think we think we're going backwards, but we're not often. Just know that it may seem like, well, why am I going to go back here to go back over here? Oh, you're not going back. It's just that you're going to loop for a minute, just, and then you're going to move forward. So our
I love
journey is
that.
not
I
like
love that
linear.
definition. I love that definition because it's so true.
Yeah. And that's the entrepreneur path, that's the healing
Yeah.
path. It all looks
Yeah.
the same. That's really life. And so if you can keep saying yes, you'll start to realize synchronicity is just abundant in your life, and you just keep moving forward. And all of a sudden, you're like, oh my God, whoa, wait a minute. That vision that I had, I'm actually here. It's
Mhm.
it's present. And then, like you said, oh, but wait. there's more. That's what tells us the universe is actually abundant. It is not suffering, it is not scarcity. It's completely the opposite of that because we choose that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I love what you're saying. And for those people who hold visions of um, new things in the world, you are the abundance creators. You are. There's a lot of that magic where you may see a lack and think, oh, I know how to bridge that lack into abundance. Well, guess what? That's one of your purposes, is to bridge that lack into abundance. I want to share a tip that I use. It's so easy, it's so simple, and it has worked magic for me throughout my life. And it's that every morning when I get up, I want to, I set the intention. And the words that I say to myself over and over again are there to train my mind to see opportunity. And that is, I say every morning, good things are happening to me today. Good things are happening to me today. And I repeat it throughout the day. Good things are happening to me today. Good things are happening to me today. And what I do is my mind begins to notice the good things that are happening to me today. The even the painful things. I want to give you an example. The other night, it was about a week ago, I was working late into the night, and I was walking down the hallway, and it was dark and I didn't see anything, and my toe, my whole foot connected with something that was so hard, and it just, oh God, it made my nail, one of my nails on my toe pop completely off. And I was like, oh God, this is so painful. And I was cussing, and I woke my spouse up, and I was like hopping around, and oh, it hurt. And then I realized it was one where I thought I was going to have to go to the doctor and take the toenail off. And so the universe was like, now we're taking it off right now. And so I was like, what? Good things are happening to me today. How is this incident of waking up like boom? How is this? I'm looking for the thing that is the good thing. Now, what that does is, when I am looking for business opportunities, when I'm looking for topics to write about my next book, everything trains you. And it's so simple. We could say nothing good happens to me on and believe that just as much as good things happen to me today. Simple, stupid, easy, such a wealth producer. And it's some of these tweaks that Natalie will be teaching in these programs that help you make these shifts, and that information becomes transformation so that you make that quantum leap into that place where you want to become. So
Yes.
right now, I think for the show, we've talked about, if you want to change, if you're meeting resistance, if you feel like, oh gosh, you're wanting to off yourself, if you feel like I'm ready to move to the next level, if you feel like I just want to be more mindful and see everything, Natalie's answered all of this for you right now. Like, honestly, we probably have done $10,000 worth of sharing these things with you. Imagine what it would be like working with her one on one. Imagine the transformation you could have working with her one on one. Look at how much transformation you've gotten in this moment, in this 1 hour. And look at the difference it could make in your business, in your success, in your happiness. So I don't want to hear it. If you want to move from short-term happiness to long-term happiness, you need to go work with Natalie. Now, I know you're thinking, I'm driving the car, so relax. We're going to put this in the show notes. Natalie, if they want to start to work with you, if they want to be at your programs, tell me. And one of you guys, somebody type it into the thread so it's in there. So if you're driving, be safe. It'll be in the thread. How can they get a hold of you?
Oh, Vickie, I love you. Yeah. So disruptnowprogram.com is the best place.
Disruptnowprogram.com. I love
Yes.
this.
Yes.
Disrupt
Yes.
your now program.
Yes.
It's true. You should be your first disruptor. Disrupt now.
Now program.
Disruptnowprogram.com. disruptnowprogram.com. Will you put
Yes.
that in the notes, Robin or MJ? So disruptnowprogram.com. I
Yes.
think everybody watching should go, there it is. And I'm going to let it roll across the screen right now. It's up there. So the timestamp is 10 minutes towards the end of the show, and it's up there, Disrupt Now Program. So here's what I want to say. If you disrupt yourself right now, you are the person who's going to help yourself level up. And everyone needs help. Everyone just does, no matter where you are. And this isn't just for, hi, I have a business or not. It could be somebody who is at a job. It could be a single mom. It could be anyone who needs to go to that next level and create it and unleash their own inner genius and meet themselves and know who they are before they die. So,
Yep.
Natalie, I'm going to give you the rest of the moment here to say to your client or your new client who's listening to you and wants to work with you, and is thinking, should I or shouldn't I? And I want you to talk to them and tell them, just do it. But I mean, tell them what what you want them to know so that they know that you're the right person to work with.
Yeah. Well, so you're again, we either resonate with people or we don't. And that's the bottom line. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, this is really about raw authenticity, raw truth, raw honesty. Like this is real stuff. This is not, I mean, I think we can like be in the superficial realm and we can kind of like we can play in here and we're like, oh, yeah, everything's great. There is such a deeper ancient being. If you feel any like, I think that I do want to tap into my magic. People that are going to resonate with me will be ready for that deep, deep, deep ride, that deep, deep soul work. But we're also going to really work on this expansion. We are cosmic beings, like power. So how do you tap into that and then ground into the earth simultaneously? So that's what this work is really all about. It's about transforming through, but it's also going to be for those that are ready to trust themselves. That's why this is a level up. This is why it's deeper plus expansion, because it moves you through exactly who you are. And I don't think
Mm.
that there's a mistake, that there's an ancient uh, pyramid structure that had, the Delphi that says, know thyself.
Yeah.
That is evolution. That is humanity. That is our truth. And so this is about consciousness evolution. So if that is what you're ready for, that's what tap into your magic. And this work is really about
I,
massive
I love that.
transformation.
I love that so much. I think the greatest gift you can give yourself is to know yourself before you die. To really know yourself before. Not, "Oh, I like pizza, but I don't like, hamburgers," or that's not knowing yourself. Knowing yourself is uncovering and utilizing, loving yourself so much before you die that you could never, ever, ever be taken advantage of again. Forever, you are in your own beingness and you can listen to your own drummer. You can listen to your own messages. You can listen to your own inner master saying, I know everybody's going right, but don't go left, and actually following your path. If you could have that in your lifetime, you
Yeah.
will have achieved some of the most incredible inner peace. You will have moved from short term happiness to long term peace and contentment with what is in the moment. Natalie, you are doing the real work. And I want to thank you for being on the show today. It is a privilege to be able to talk to people who are so transparent, so vulnerable, and yet so grounded and so present with me. And I really enjoyed you being on the Coffee Break Show today.
Well,
It has
same,
just been outstanding.
same.
So, listen, as usual, every single week, I bring you the best experts from around the world. You want to connect with Natalie? Go ahead and do so today. Thank you, everyone, for being on the Coffee Break Show. I will see you next week where we're going to have another really fabulous guest. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.